Greetings, my name's Harvey Withington. I'm one of the co-creators of the hit new adult animation series Mandela Days. Welcome to this Adobe Character Animator tutorial. So this is the third in a three-part series. That means it's the final. So you can imagine the first two parts were probably quite important. So if you haven't seen that, this will be pure gibberish. Absolutely incomprehensible nonsense to you. It'll be like I'm speaking in tongues, like I'm possessed by Satan. Just go back and watch the other ones and avoid all of that pain and head tilting. All right? The rest of us are going to get on with the tutorial. Alright, so hopefully by now you've been able to pull your artwork into the Photoshop template and drag everything into the correct layer. If you've done that, then congratulations. It's a bit of a marathon, but once you're there, that's really the hard work done. The next step is to bring it into Character Animator. So all you need to do is open up the template. That's already done. Now, just do a save as. So when you save the template, you won't be saving over the template file, you'll be saving over something else. We'll call this Gary Performance 2. And then all we have to do, in theory, is link the new Puppet file instead of the template file. So you can see here it's linked to Puppet Template Season 1. So if we click that and we choose the Puppet with the artwork in it instead of the template, then Character Animator will switch the file across and it'll match up all the layers and hopefully maintain all of the behaviors and tags. So let's give it a go. All right, so Character Animator has finished processing the new Puppet and it's done its best job to match everything up. So let's see how we go to start with. And hopefully we'll find that the rest of the Gary Puppet is working pretty well. So let's turn his head. Yes, all of the mouth is still moving, eyebrows still moving. Let's test out a few emotions. Let's see if Gary can be drunk in any position. And it appears that he can, although I should be slurring my words more to do it, but there you go. Angry is another one that's quite distinctive, and you can see no matter which way he turns his head, he looks pretty angry. So it looks like we've been successful there in importing the puppet, and that's good, but this involves actually having dragged in the artwork pretty much perfectly to start with, and it's pretty unlikely to do that. I certainly don't do it right the first time. In order to show you a couple of common errors, I've gone away, I've edited our Hank puppet to have a few common errors in it, and I've gone back to the template and re-imported, swapped the puppet over to bring in Hank. I won't show you all of that because it's the same as what we did before. We can immediately go straight to the record tab and see if we can detect any problems or errors that may have occurred. All right, so already you can see he's got a bit of a Halloween vibe going on here with his floating head. That's just because the origin of the head doesn't match what the template puppet was. It rarely will. It'd be pretty much a fluke, I think, if it ever did. So if we just go back to our rig mode here, we can fix that in Character Animator. We don't need to change the Photoshop puppet. And we just go to the head layer and just make sure that the origin is dragged somewhere reasonable so that it looks like it's connected to his neck. We should find now that Hank is looking pretty good, and his head is connected. Now there's going to be a few other issues with Hank, and I already know what they are, so I'm going to just lead you to them. But basically, if you were debugging a puppet when it first comes in, just turn its head around as much as you can. Watch the thing, and already you'll see that something weird is happening there with Hank's eyebrows. If I turn his face to the left, he looks angry because his eyebrows are actually going in the opposite direction. Now that's due to a very common error, especially when you're working with Kaylin, who's, you know, an artist, so flighty, and they get their left and their right mixed up quite often. So what's happened here is that in the in that particular orientation, the 3/4 left of the puppet, the eyebrows have been tagged left and right incorrectly. So there's two ways to fix it. One is you can fix it in Character Animator and just re-tag everything. But what you'll find if you do that is that the layers will be named incorrectly and it'll be all weird. So I think a better way to deal with that is to go into Photoshop and fix it there. So let's go to the 3/4 right and let's have a look in here. So our eyebrows appear to be in the wrong direction. Now let's have a look back in Character Animator and see if when we change the emotions, no, it looks like no matter what we do in that orientation, it looks like all of them have been tagged incorrectly. So even poor old drunk Hank there starts to get a little bit angry because he's angry drunk when he raises his eyebrows. So that means actually all of these layers that are under left eyebrow should actually be under right eyebrow and vice versa. So that's pretty easy to fix. Just drag them along and take the ones from the left eyebrow and drag them under the right to the left and resave the puppet. And you'll find hopefully that will cure that one problem. Okay, so you can see Hank is looking pretty good here and you can change his emotions around and it's all looking great until you put him in the happy emotion. And the happy emotion should be called the zombie emotion in this case because he does look quite zombified. So let's just go back into the character rig and have a look at what's causing that. So you might think it's to do with the mapping being incorrect, but if you go in and have a look at the front facing left pupil and right pupil, it's the right pupil, isn't it, that was having the problem? You can see it's mapped up correctly. But the thing that we know for sure is it only happened when we were in the happy emotion. It didn't happen when normal was on. And that's because you can see here, the layer visibility was turned off for the pupil underneath the happy. You can see underneath all the others, it's fine, it's turned on. So all we need to do for this is actually turn on the layer visibility for that. And you can do that here, or you can do it back in Photoshop. Either way, it'll fix the issue. So let's check that that's fixed. Okay, so you can see now, if we go into the happy emotion, the pupils are still okay. We've got another issue to fix, and again, this is caused by something that's very, very common, I find, in building these puppets, which is the mapping gets lost when you import the puppet. So if we go and look at the mouth swap set for the front facing and we look at happy, the way to be able to tell if it's mapped correctly is if it's got the trigger swap set associated with it. So you can see here this is mapped to Q, but the happy emotion is mapped to nothing. So what ends up happening is it just disappears when you go to the happy emotion. But luckily this is a really, really easy thing to fix. So the way I made this happen when I was editing the puppet was I deleted the layer group and recreated it with the same name. So as you can see, that causes it to lose its mapping because the ID in Photoshop didn't match what the ID in the template was. The way to fix it is quite easy. Once you've found one that's not mapped, you can just look at it in this view and then just drag that layer into the happy emotion trigger down here. So you can see Hank's there, and if we switch to the happy emotion, yes, his mouth is visible. However, he doesn't seem to be lip syncing very well. In fact, he's just grinning like an idiot, and it's quite unnerving. So what's happened there? It's got to be something to do with the fact that we've deleted and recreated the layer. So let's see if it's lost any other mappings that it should have kept. So if we go in here and have a look, you'll see that normal, for instance, has been tagged as mouth and mouth group. So has sad, so has tired. But good old happy, because it's been deleted and recreated, has lost its tags. So all we need to do is go back and tag it as mouth and mouth group again, and that should fix that issue. So let's go back and see. All right, so we're going into the happy emotion, and there you go. There you go. The mouth swap set's working fine again. So you can see here in the angry emotion, there's one more small issue where his eyebrows just won't stay angry when he's turning his head to the left there. So we need to have a look at that and make sure that the eyebrows are mapping correctly. So we'll go back into the rig again And we'll just have a look at the 3/4 right group. So we're missing all of the triggers there, and that's why the eyebrows aren't changing. So again, you may not know how this has happened, but for some reason it has. You've done something in Photoshop. Doesn't matter. You know, I'm not going to blame you. Could be my fault. Could have screwed up the template. Blame me if you want to, but either way, the way to fix it is just to drag the emotion layers into the appropriate triggers in the trigger panel. So we just drag normal into normal, happy into happy, sad into sad, and I'll speed up the rest of it, but I'm going to do it for all of these and for all of the right eyebrow as well. All right, so now you can see all of the triggers are enabled on these ones, so we should get a better result. And let's go back into our performance tab and let it refresh. And now you can see when we go to the 3/4 left, the eyebrows for the angry emotion definitely change. You can see that change happening now. And that concludes our series on creating emotion-based character animation using Character Animator. I hope it helped in some way, and I hope it was clear. You know, I'm not great at doing these tutorials, so you know, you'll have to give me a bit of leeway there. But if you got something out of it, you know, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, send us a comment. If you have any questions, you know, I'll monitor the comments on all the social media, so feel free to leave your questions there. And if you get a chance, go check out the Mandela Days pilot. You can see we're putting a lot of work into the series, so I think it's going to be something really special. And if by any chance you feel inspired to kick us a bit of money on the Kickstarter, you can go check that out. All the links will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.